what was going on there from Friday?
Thank you for asking that. Through Vinny and I, we were going to host a party for them, a big dinner. So we decided to have it at 110 Steakhouse on 110. I called up Vinny, and of course he knew somebody. You know, Vinny Gubats. He knows everybody. I said, Vinny. So we called up and we got a price. It started off at $120 a plate. I go, Anthony, this ain't a wedding. So then what did I do? I called Vincenzo, Vinny Sombrato, and he called over, and let's do this. They sliced the price, not even half. They even went down halfway all the way. So the kids had a big day there. They came there. There was 65 kids about. They traveled very, very heavy. They came to 110 Chop House, and we were filming it. So it's going to be on film and stuff like that. And I'll hand it over to Vinny. What else happened, Vinny, so you can remember? Look at this jacket each one got. All the coaches got apparel and everything. I think we lost Vinny for a second.
Vinny got bounced off. He must have
got bounced off.
In the meantime,
I'll keep talking. Yeah, we had the party.
Yeah, but I want to say, you there was a video going around in terms of the of thanking the Tar Heel community, and I want to pull that up because I saw that this was made right after that weekend there. Let me pull this up for all the viewers so they can see this.
All right. I want to congratulate North Carolina on their great win against Hofstra. It was a great game in the beginning. Hofstra was trying to hang in there, but North Carolina pulled away in the fourth quarter. Congratulations, and I mean congratulations to North Carolina University, the alumni, and everything that happened. We had the greatest time. Vinny Sombrato, Steven Sombrato, Chris Hine, all the things that they bring, Kara, all the people they brought from North Carolina was simply amazing. And of course, I want to thank my wife, the GOAT, Cheryl Smalley. Thank you so much. And also, I want to thank you for the beautiful gear that they gave me. Look at the beautiful hat. Get close. I want to thank Joe Bresci, Chuck Bresci, and all that they do. Look at the beautiful jacket. I want to thank them for making us part of the nation of North Carolina University. I am truly blessed. On behalf of my wife and I, we really thank you. Have a great day.
So Vin, as you got bounced off, we were showing Smalley's thank you video, which is semi-hostage video there. But
yeah, it was good to see.
It
was good to see Joe Bresci. It was good to see Petro, my former teammates from the 94 World Team. They're doing a great job with Kevin Unterstein and Peter Murphy. The players were all charged up to be playing on Long Island. They had a good victory over Hofstra. Of course, I was still rooting for Hofstra. But Carolina looks to have a pretty good team, and I think they're going to really compete in the ACC.
So Smalls, there was a lot of box activity at Hofstra this week. I don't know that I've, other than maybe that Syracuse night, I don't know that I've ever seen as many people in the boxes as was up there this past weekend.
Oh, we had two suites. Thank God the athletic director, Rick Cole, and Brian Graff were able to give me some more space. They gave me the presidential box, which holds 30 to 40 people. And of course, I have my own box that we host Sports Depot Power Group. We have it up there, and they were fortunate. So I had about 65 tickets, but I had 132 emails for going to the game between the Spalinas and the whole North Carolina team and everything calling. It was hard to get everybody up there, but we kind of did a pretty good job.
I saw a lot of people up there. That presidential suite was
beautiful place to watch a game.
What'd you think of the game?
What are you doing? My daughter's driving me crazy. You got to come in when I'm doing.
Nothing's in there.
All right, no, sit there. Go get money from mom.
Are you kidding? Special guest Hannah Smalley. That makes the show. How can we do a show without Hannah Smalley?
She will make the show. She came in. Oh my God!
So what do you think of the game, Smalls?
The game itself. Listen. You got two. Listen, Hofstra's a very good team. They're a very good team. I would say you have 2 or 3 stars, rising stars that are coming up the ladder. They got to prove themselves. You guys know who they are, whatever. But it was close in the beginning. And then I say, like the third, they started to pull away North Carolina. You could see they were just a little bit better. And I think it was, 21-10 was the final score, Vinny? You might know better, but.
I don't know. I think the final
21-10 was the game. But
oh, boy.
It was a good game to go to, but I think they were a little outmatched today. What do you think, Vinny?
Vinny's got difficult internet, I think. he's got some payments on his internet.
Oh, his internet is bad. It's off. The goat.
Oh, the other big game of the week was going back to the 80s, Syracuse and Hopkins. You know, the fabled rivalry.
That's a tremendous matchup, right? I think, first of all, I'm going to go out here and say Hopkins is back. Hopkins is back. They're growing. They're getting to that top echelon, and I believe they're going to be there. They're a very tricky team. They're sort of like a Syracuse. Both of those are going to be a tough out. Going to the quarterfinals and going to the finals. I believe one of those teams, I'm calling it out now, one of those 2 teams will be a sleeper, and one of those teams will be in the Final Four, along with the greats.
If you remember, and we didn't tape it, but if you remember when we were in Florida and we were fooling around and we were writing our top 10 picks, and I have to say, at that time, I didn't put Syracuse in my top 10 picks, but I'm a believer now. I'm a believer.
That's cool. I understand. I mean, you guys are.
Well, I'll tell you why, though.
You never know. You never know who's going to do it. But they're no longer a sleeper, and neither is the team we just mentioned. Also,
well, they're deeper than I thought they would be. Syracuse. Now those two, to me, a key on their team is obviously they got all the young talent, and that's what everybody was excited about, and they are. They got tremendous young talent. But those two fifth-year guys from Princeton really put them on a different level now. That's what really, to me, puts them in the top 10. Vin's back. He's back.
Hey.
You didn't make the payments on your internet.
Yeah, we're on the first thing anyway. We're talking about teams in the very beginning who picked.
We're talking about Cuse Hopkins. So the question is Cuse, the 80s rivalry's back,
Oh, they're clearly back.
Back?
I mean, they're in the hunt now for the Final Four weekend. I mean, the only 2 games they lost were in overtime to top teams. And they theoretically could be undefeated, but I guess a lot of teams could say that. There are other teams. Yeah, but Hopkins is right there, too.
What about Hopkins?
I think both of those teams, we can't say they've ascended to the top just yet. We'll see how they do within for Syracuse, their ACC schedule. Yeah, we'll see how they do within their ACC schedule and how Hopkins does in their Big Ten schedule. They both have tough schedules coming down. Hopkins has to face, the Penn State's been hot, Maryland, Michigan, and then, of course, in the ACC, Syracuse is going to run the gauntlet. Virginia, Duke, Carolina, Notre Dame, of course.
What do you think of? I was saying to Smalls. I was saying to Smalls. We know the young talent from Syracuse, but I really think the difference in the game, at least in Syracuse, the change has been those two seniors from Princeton. I think make a big difference for Syracuse.
Jake Stevens, he was out the game before. I think when they lost in overtime. Watching the game the other day, he was only in his scoring. He came up with a lot of plays between the lines. When I say between the lines, he was on the wing of the faceoffs. He comes up with balls for them. I mean, as I got cut off and I came back on, I heard you talking about, these 5-year guys. It's an edge when you got these guys who've played in other programs. They got an extra year. How many guys?
The other guy's pretty shifty, huh?
Yeah,
English?
5 years, Vinny. Right? These guys.
That's all right.
These guys are playing 5 years.
I'm just saying, you.
Wow.
I don't know about the stats, but I think that they lend a lot of season to these teams with these young guys. You're talking about a good mix. I mean, to me, guys were always at their best after college. Most guys back when I played, you're out of college by 21, 22. You graduated. You got guys playing in the game now, 22 plus that are playing. So, they're just getting physically stronger. They're getting a better understanding of the game. But they got to balance that with coming into a team that's, they never played for. And you can't, there's got to be a good balance. They're taking spots of maybe younger guys. You got to see.
That's a good point. Vinny, I got a question for you. He was brought up atop of Johns Hopkins. As you said, they're on the rise. Do you believe one of those teams could be a sleeper to get to the Final Four?
I don't think
possibly in the quarterfinals.
I think they're predicted to be there.
All right, so you think I'm going to go out on a limb? I think Cuse will be in the Final Four. That's my opinion. And I'm not saying winning it, whatever, but I'm going to go out like that.
I mean, look, you got to see. Obviously, the seeding of the tournament is going to be very important because, you might have to run a real buzzsaw. You got to beat the best to be the best, but depending on who you see early.
That's true.
At best, the way the tournament has been, if you're ranked really high, you might get one meatball game. You might get one against maybe one of the weaker conferences. But there's a chance you might have to win 4 very, very competitive games if to win it all. So to get to the Final Four, I don't know if Syracuse. I would have said when we were in Florida, I would have said no chance. Now I definitely would not say they couldn't make it to the Final Four. I think they could. I think they've got a balance of talent that could get them there, but they'd have to win a couple of very, very competitive games against some very strong teams in the first round potentially and that quarterfinal round to get over the top, because those 8 teams that are going to be left are going to be really strong. I think.
Well, what do you guys think about Georgetown? Like last year, everybody had them in the Final Four. I did hear you guys say it, and that was one of the things that both I think they dropped off. All the experts, like you guys, I consider you the experts. You were calling for them for the Final Four, and they just sieved out. I mean, how did that happen?
Well, I'll go a different route. So you want to talk about? I want to show. We'll pull up the rankings. I want to pull up the rankings that just came out today, and I know everybody talking about the 5th-year guys. Well, look who's at the top. A team with no 5th-year guys. Army, undefeated, first time ever, number 1 in the country. How about that? How impressive is that?
Is that the first time ever?
Yes, first time ever Army's ever been ranked number 1.
Well, you're saying no 50-year guys, ever. But that may or may not be true. Some of these guys go to the Army prep school first, and they're not taking in people from the portal. portal, but they
Very
could
good
have
point,
some guys who
Vincenzo.
are.
Yeah, they're not getting what I'm saying. When
Yeah,
I'm
no,
saying the 50,
they're
I'm
not
talking
taking in
about the
transfers.
transfers.
No, they
They're
don't
not
get
getting any
transfers there,
transfers
but
in.
they do get some guys. I don't know their roster well enough to tell you, but they do get guys who go to the prep school and all of that, and that's helpful. But they've had an impressive run, and to beat, we're talking about Syracuse. Smalls just made a prediction to the Final Four. They went into the Dome and beat Syracuse. So you got to give them a lot of credibility. I thought last year,
Right.
Vinny, what's the head
Joe
coach's name? The
Alberici,
pronunciation?
he does a terrific job. He's a great coach. I mean, they really always have good game plan. They play hard.
Oh, Joe, yeah, what a great! Just want to go out on the limb here and say,
So
great guy.
they're a team. They come out of the Patriot League. Their non-league schedule, I don't know their whole schedule, but they have a couple of tough games. But the Patriot League looks to be a little down to me this year. If you're going to talk about,
Well, let's skip around on this topic. Army's number one. Can they run the table? Can they run the table? I'll give you their schedule. I'll pull it up right now. Conceivably. Look at these 7 games.
Let me get my glasses.
Yeah.
Lehigh,
Go ahead. Yeah.
BU,
Carolina will be a
at
tough
North
game.
Carolina. That's a tough one, I would imagine.
Yeah, they've been better.
Colgate,
Navy, a rivalry.
Navy,
Mm-hmm.
at Bucknell,
Oh, they got a chance.
and at Loyola.
They're gonna go undefeated.
All right. All right.
They're gonna go undefeated.
Listen,
Oh yeah,
listen. It's not inconceivable. It's not inconceivable, but
they're not beating them. Those teams. You didn't throw in Maryland there. You didn't throw Virginia. You didn't throw the big dogs in there.
oh, they got North Carolina in there.
They're very good. I think they'll beat them. It'll be a close game. Just edge them out. Oh, they're going undefeated. That's all I got.
Conference games sometimes can throw you. BU. Yeah, when they're on the road.
And when you got to go on the road,
theoretically, can they? No question. I mean, they're playing better than those teams we just mentioned right now. Loyola seems to be struggling. I honestly I can't figure out this season with some of the games how teams. I mean, Brown doesn't look very strong at all. Next thing you know, they're playing an overtime game with Maryland. Maryland beat Syracuse in the Dome. So if you're gonna do that, go back and forth with the games. It's all got to be done on the field. All of this, we're just speculating. We know that, but who looks, I mean, there's certain teams position-wise. Syracuse boned up at the face-off. They're much better at the face-off this year, so that's a big plus for them. You got great goaltending in Notre Dame. You got the best goalie in the country in Notre Dame. That's a big edge for them. You got you got seasoned guys on their team. You got some great athletes. They faltered against Georgetown for whatever reason. I didn't see that game, but they got beaten. I think it was at home, too. I think they beat them at Notre Dame, Georgetown. So everybody's capable. There's a lot of capable teams because, the game, there are so many good players out there today that, on any given day, I think 1 through 10 could beat each other. Who's the final at 10? Cornell? I was shocked to see that Cornell got beat up the way they got beat up by Penn State this weekend.
As you see, where any given week, one of these teams, if they don't come to play, they can get taken out. But many times you hear people talk about the ACC teams, almost like they're the SEC of football. SEC of football always dominates. They win the most national championships, and everybody looks at the ACC like that being that conference for lacrosse. And if you look at the rankings here, you see that Virginia's up, Notre Dame's up at 2, Virginia's 3, Duke's at 4, right away off the bat. Right, 2, 3, and 4, and then Syracuse is 6 and North Carolina is 16. So they're all right there. What I would ask you is, in the last 2 weeks, have you seen vulnerabilities considering Duke lost at home, Virginia lost at home. This past weekend there were some tighter games than maybe expected. Um, is there something that would maybe make that SEC comment maybe not as true, and maybe some of the other teams in divisions such as the Ivy or Big Ten are fairly close to closing that gap?
No, I just think everybody has a chance to beat everybody. Like Vinny said, it's a little tricky. You got a lot of 50-year players and stuff on these teams, and they can play too. You got face-off guys. There's a lot of moving parts here, and it's very difficult to really predict these games now, as you see we're doing them. You know, Vinny.
What would you say is the next conference, Vin, after the ACC? What would you say is the next? I mean, I think we'd all agree ACC is the strongest conference this year.
Let's wait and see a few more games. Maybe we're wrong. It looks that way. I got a question.
But then those teams came right back and won.
Yeah,
Right?
Denver got beat. Are we halfway through the season? Are we halfway through the season? Okay, I got a good question for both you, Stephen and Vinny. Oh, we lost him.
All right.
Stephen, I'll start with you. Stephen, if you had to pick, can you hear me?
Yeah.
If you had to pick right now as the season was over, who would be your MVP? You can pick two people or whatever. Who would be your MVP as of now in the season? Like one, two, or three guys. I mean, it might be hard for you.
Well, look, to me, there's no question Brennan O'Neill's the most dominant force in college lacrosse. I mean, he's someone that if you're not game planning to stop him, you know, he's gonna make you pay.
Yeah.
And not every team can guard him. There's only, most teams. There's a lot of teams that don't even have a guy who really can defend him.
You got
well.
a point. That's a good
You
point.
know, and so what do you have to do? Then you have to guard him a whole different way, and all the other guys on Duke can hurt you. They come one after the other with a loaded roster. This is what's unfair because it's not fair to him. I mean, if he's got a decent guy on him and the team makes a lot of plays and they have success, but he's fairly quiet because he's not looking to force it for himself personally, should that work against him? He's the most dominant force. All things being equal, when the chips are on the line and they're in the toughest games, Duke is gonna need Brennan O'Neill to step it up in those toughest times. It's not easy to do it when you're that guy. Like, a lot of times you bring up the performance of, the U.S. team where he, went bananas in that championship game, and he is that good of a player. But with that U.S. team, he's around a lot of other veteran players, so he can almost do it as a second or a third guy. At Duke, when it comes down to playing Virginia and Notre Dame, he's the primary force. And this year more than ever, he's probably got a little pressure on him to try to get them to the title game.
Yeah, that's good. Okay.
There's not a force.
All right. Yeah, that's good. What else we got? I didn't mean to rush you, Stephen. You want to move on? What else? Because Vinny's going to pop back up.
I'd like to hear what he thinks. I mean, there's other guys. I mean, there's some other. Look at a team like Maryland. Look at a team like Maryland, right?
I like the kid Curse.
I don't even know how many guys I can name you on Maryland because they all look the same to me, but they all play good. They all move the ball.
Very good team.
Share the ball. They're a different species. They play by the sum of their parts. Not that any team doesn't, because they have to. They all have to play like that. But I don't think they don't have an option like a Duke where when the chips are down, you can put it in Brennan O'Neal's stick and he can, he can make something happen single-handedly. Maryland doesn't seem like that team to me. They don't have that guy. But this is what's made it interesting. Who do you think? Who are you saying?
I think right now, if I had to say, oh God, when you talk the most valuable player who's bringing it up, I gotta bring 2.0 into it because Syracuse lost 2 games by 1 goal. One was controversy in overtime. They actually won, but okay, they lost it on a thing. And a guy that's just, where Syracuse is right now is incredible, but to where they've been. The recruiting and everything that he did, they could be down at the bottom. They still might lose games, but right now I see them as the rising stars.
What about the Kavanaughs?
The Cavaliers are fantastic. They're right there too. There's no doubt about it. I consider them right there. I love those kids, man. I love the Cavaliers. But if I had to give Vinny, can you hear us?
I'm back. Yeah, I don't know why I
Vinny
cut off. I could hear you.
One of the things we were talking about, if the season was to stop now, who's kind of like the MVP? We're talking a few guys. Obviously, Steven had said Brendan O'Neill. Obviously, you got to pick him. One of the things I said was, like right now, because they're so on the rise and they emerge as moving into the top echelon, I gotta pick 2.0. What he has done and orchestrated all these players is mind-boggling, I think. The way they came up the ladder. I think he's right there. Is he Brendan O'Neill? No. Is he right up there rising? Very close? Oh, yeah. If he gets into the Final Four, I don't know what you can think. The kid is really, he's on the rise. Let's put it that way. Maybe I'm favoring him a little bit because I do know the family. I do love the family and everything, but I really think he's playing well enough to get into the Final Four. Along with Kirst, along with the usual suspects, the Kavanaugh brothers, like you guys say, no doubt. Who else do you think is on the rise besides the usual suspects, Ben?
I don't know about on the rise. There's a lot of guys having great seasons. Obviously, Spallina is no surprise to anybody. He came out one of the most decorated high school players, and he was expected, and he wore 22, wearing 22, and the whole bit. So he's had a lot put on his shoulders, and he's accepted the challenge, and I think he's done as well or even better than people might have expected. And it's all going to come down to winning, and they are doing well right now. Listen, it's you mentioned Brennan O'Neill. Obviously, he's one in a lifetime type player. MVP of the championship game of the World Games. But
Absolutely.
Is his career going to be? It's going to be a little hollow without a national championship. Yeah, people will say that, but it's a team game. He'll do what he can to bring him over the top this year, and I think they're going to be back at least to the Final Four. I think they're probably, to me, if you look at the overall team, I'd probably give them, the nod to be the favorite to win it all right now. But who knows? Like I said, these games. Look, we were at the Final Four last year, right? The game before Army played Penn State in the quarters, Army played them to a 1-goal game. Really almost tied the score with 0 time on the clock. They easily could have been in that Final Four. And could they have beaten or played as well as Penn State did against Duke? I don't know. It's matchups. That's what makes sports so fun to watch. You never know what you.
That's a good point. I think.
And how about showing Virginia some love? What about Schellenberger?
I'll throw Schellenberger in there, obviously.
This guy's he's going to break. If he hasn't done it already, he's going to break the Virginia all-time scoring
We'll
record.
throw obviously him. We forgot him, but yeah, no doubt about it, Steve. You're on the money with that.
There's 2 guys on that team. You got Schellenberger, who I think if he's a first-team All-American this year, would be one of the very few 4-time first-team All-Americans. I think he's been a 3-time first-team All-American. So you're talking about a guy who could be a 4-time first-team All-American.
No doubt about it.
Plays the game, and then you got a guy on the attack with him, Cormier, he's on target to maybe break Mac O'Keefe's all-time goal-scoring record. He had 5 this weekend. I think maybe if he averages 3 goals a game for the rest of the year, something like that, I think he passes O'Keefe, which is, something. And then you got a freshman starting on attack.
That's amazing,
Dave Millen, who's lighting it up so far, having a tremendous freshman season. So that team is as dangerous as they come. They got a good goaltender out of Texas. Your buddy's team that he came from, Smalls. The kid goal. Their defense is
I don't know a lot
lengthy.
of the defense, to be honest with you, but I want to give a shout out to a kid from Yale University, a kid named Paisano, and I hope I'm pronouncing it right, because I know the dad and everything. I think Chris Paisano. Paisano, I think you pronounce it.
What school?
He went to, he plays at Yale right now. Okay. He went to Cold Spring Harbor. The family, what a wonderful family, father and everything. He got into Yale, and he got a chance to start. He's a sophomore, and he's starting now, and he's moving up the ranks. He was player of the week last week, and the kid is really on the rise. 6'2", 6'3" kid, 220 pounds. He's slowly coming into his own. He's hungry. He's a lunch pail kid, Even though he was born there, the father brought him up pretty tough. The father's a fireman. Nice people. They come to some of the Hofstra games, and they sit with us in the suite and everything. Really good people. And I think that kid's on the rise. I know him. There's a kid on there right now. There's a kid on Army. I don't know the name or anything because I'm not good. I'm going to have to get a list of the names. I think he's like 61, whatever. Tremendous player, man. Forget it. They don't get enough talk. It's their defense. They have one kid and the goalie's playing lights out. I got to get all the names of the kids and everything. Then I'll be able to really give you. But the defense is a good too. So many good players now. You'll never see it like this in the history of the game. Never. Because you'll never have 5, 6. We have 27-year-old kids, 26-year-old kids. We have 25-year-old kids. You'll never see lacrosse at this level.
Who are they, Blutowski?
Excuse me, though. Excuse me, I will tell you. There was Vinny was paying attention the other day.
Master of exaggeration.
Okay. Vinny, there was a kid the other day. We asked how old they were. We went to North Carolina dinner. We were hosting the dinner, Vinny and I. And we were asking, who's the oldest kid on the team? What did they think? He's a 26, 27-year-old kid, right?
That was the coach.
They embarrassed him a little bit.
That was the coach. That was a coach.
Wasn't the coach? Understand? Here they go. To team it up. No. All right, you guys want to put a little wager on it? There was at least a 26. Kids are 25. Don't tell me they're not.
No.
The kids are much older today.
They should be in medical school if they're 27.
Whatever, they're older today. Every kid wants the edge. You know that. A kid never comes in. They hold these kids back 2 and 3 years. Is that really fair to another kid who's 17, 18 going into college?
Well, it's all equaling out. We're at the last stages of that COVID debacle. That's all.
You're never going to see it like this. Lacrosse is never going to be this big.
It'll go back to normal again.
Yeah.
Yes, we have been spoiled. With all the guys getting to play.
We are spoiled.
Time, yes, the development of them has raised the level of the game for sure, because the game is on the field product has really never been better. Those top 20 teams are all very, very strong. When you look,
I gave a shout out to Paisano. I was telling him a kid from Yale came in as a sophomore this year, and he's on the rise. He was player of the week. We happen to know him, so I'm giving him a little love. But he was player of the week 2 weeks ago. Yeah, one player of the week. Yep.
Nice.
Yep. Am I pronouncing it right? Paisano? I'm not Italian. You guys got the Italian O's on the last name.
He had an assist in the game against Denver with a pole, so he's running the field.
Oh, yeah, an assist?
Yeah, an assist, I saw.
Yeah.
So.
Hey, Yale can beat somebody, too, on a good day. Come on. All right, moving on. What do we got, Vincenzo?
I mean, we're not gonna do the picks till later in the week, but just to give you an idea of games on the horizon. We're not doing. There's some games today, but they're all not what I don't see as competitive games. But going to Saturday, You got Army and Lehigh, which at Lehigh, the number one team traveling. You got Towson, Drexel. You got North Carolina and Stony Brook. They're still up during their time up here. Duke is hosting Richmond. There's a lot of Syracuse and Delaware is another one to keep an eye on.
Wait, what did Vinny say? Vinny said something. I didn't hear him. What?
But here's probably the game. Yeah, Delaware, Syracuse. But here's the game you'll probably be looking at as the highlighted game of the week. Maryland and Virginia. Maryland goes down to Virginia. So and then the other game that's is going to be Notre Dame and Michigan, a Big Ten game. That they look like they're starting, and the Ivies are starting. So you got Penn is playing Brown. You got some Ivy games that the Ivy season. Let's talk about one other thing before we go. How about how Harvard is cruising along, sneaking up on people.
Oh, Jerry Burns, I love that kid, Levittown kid.
Oh, man, what do you
Oh,
think?
that's my guy. Oh, love that kid, man. He did everything right. Glory boy. He's a Chaminade kid, wasn't he, Vin?
They had big win this week, so they pretty much hammered who'd they beat? Cornell? Did I get that right?
Colgate. Cornell.
No, not Colgate. Let me see. That was the game. Harvard. No, they beat Michigan. They were up a lot.
Vinny, you froze up. Are you still there?
No, he hasn't paid his internet bill in 3 months.
Vinny froze up. Yeah, look at him. I love the kid. I love the kid. Vincenzo. Oh, man.
AOL browser. And
he's got an AOL browser. I love you. We can't get Vinny back on Sombrano. Four-time all-world player. Oh, he's back.
You got the Ethernet. You got the Ethernet cable. You're using an Ethernet cable.
You're using AOL.
I don't know what I'm using. All I can tell you is this thing's on. I'm looking at my signal and it's saying I'm at full strength, and yet I keep getting kicked off of here. I think
that's the goat. That's my boy. He kills me.
This is a good
four-time world player.
We need to get a better. We got to do it better.
We'll be all right. It's our first run. Vinny, let me ask you a question. Your hat. What is that hat? Why that hat? What does it stand for?
This is a Rob Smalley branded company called Lax Life that he came up with, and the logo represents his love for America, the flag, and of course for the honor the people who perished in the Twin Towers. Right here on the blue here, this is the Twin Towers right here, part of the American flag.
Vinny, can you hold it closer to the mic? Can you take it off and hold it closer to the mic? You see the two blue things in the Twin Towers, and that's the flag for people that passed away. And yeah, I'm just clearing it up there, Vinny. You know how we do it. All right, I think it's a great run. A
lot of games this week. We'll pick up towards the end of the week for the Saturday games. We'll get the lines. Maybe we'll even. No, you're at fault. What are you talking about?
Yeah, let it be the first one. Fuck it, man. Who cares?
You gotta improve. Hey, listen.
I make the whole show.
Many guys
up, man. You got the AOL internet.
They dropped the ball. They're not frozen. You gotta get them internet.
They're frozen to him though.
Yeah, because
he's AOL.
He's on
my God.
But just like the first game, you drop passes, you miss shots. You got to get better. That's all.
Vinny, who do you want to be our first guest? I'm calling on. That's all right.
Everything counts.
I'm not afraid to fail, Vinny. Hey, Vinny, who's our first guest? I want it to be a woman. Who's our first guest? Yeah. And Jen Levy, you want to have them both? Jen's not busy. One day a week, she has a game on a Saturday. No such thing as busy. Come on.
I think we should get a guy with a voice made for radio. Brett Brown.
Oh, shit. Can we call him up? Can we get him on?
Oh, we're gonna get him on. We'll get him on the next episode. We get him on. He's got a lot to say. And he's got
Is that the guy you invented, Black Jesus? You gave him the nickname Black Jesus? You guys? All right, we'll get him on. All right. We failed, but all right, we're going. All right, good job, guys. Good job today.
You trial run. The guy's got 1930 internet.
He's got 1930 internet. All right, good, guys.
Oh, no, it's not the app.
No, Vinny, the app is pretty good, man.
And then you go, because you have spotty, it goes off. Your internet must be going off.
Hey, Steven, would that happen if we were in studio? We'd be able to fix his thing quick.
You have an internet. You'd be on the same internet, of course. What do you mean in the studio? It would be just getting recorded. No, at your house, yeah, you got to worry about your internet. You probably never restart your router. How much do you restart your router? At all? Ever? Unless the lights go off. Oh, God.
Let's sign off. Vinny's good. All right, God bless.
False.
I love you guys. Without the Sobranos, 5 decades later, the Sobranos are still doing it. I love you guys. You're the best. All right, guys, signing off. I got to go get some more ravioli.
Till next time.
Thank you, man. Thank you.